If you want to be an ethical, a socially responsible brand, you should be representing the communities that are buying your product or using your services.
What systemic barriers still exist when it comes to creating and producing representative work? And what do agencies need to change about their processes to make more representative work?
It's a lot of the old stuff that you can't believe even still happens. The CEO's friend's nephew that is your intern that translates into a job at another agency because of generational wealth they've managed to acquire a larger, longer period of time in higher education, which translates into them rising up the ranks and bringing in more folks like them, eventually buying a nice big house, having some kids, and we all do it all over again. We haven't made a lot of progress in making sure that we're creating new on-ramps for folks to get into the industry, right? New ways for folks who didn't realize that this is an option to know that this was an option.
A lot of it is taking a hard look at how can we not only get people in, but actually get them in a way that are succeeding and thriving when they're in the business.
The industry hasn't done a great job of getting the right people in the room. What can it do better when it comes to diversifying creative teams from the inside out?
I think what happens a lot of times is we see a piece of work, we're inspired by that work, we think that work is brilliant, and we say, I want to work with those people, I want to work with that director. And what happens is the same people get used over and over again.
You don't realize how these things where you just think it's a no-brainer. Everybody's going to know this reference. This is cool to everyone. These types of assumptions just kill the work. Taking a step back on all the creative decisions that an organization makes and removing the assumptions and actually talking to some of the people and doing the research and actually doing the legwork to understand the audience that you're trying to reach, and that goes a long way.
How important is it to diversify the businesses that you work with, and how far along are agencies in even thinking about and embracing supplier diversity programs?
In every bid that we do, we make sure we over-index in bringing in companies that are diverse companies. And I think that's actually led to better diversity in casting for us. It's led to people who are educated to that point of knowing how to do hair and makeup for diverse talent. And it's just made the work better. Awareness of these programs is still an opportunity for a lot of agencies.
It takes the extra effort to bring in a diverse roster of partners to pull off some of the things that we do, but it pays off.
What is the biggest misconception amongst creative teams about how to make work more representative and inclusive?
You gotta sweat the little things. You gotta sweat all the little things. How the copywriter reads the script to the client that first time, and how the roles are described as the people that are gonna be in that script that are saying those words, and how they're represented. That impacts people. I think on a subconscious level, that really impacts people. It changes the way that the creative is received. And all these little things just lead to inertia and keep us from making any progress.
We did a campaign for a client that was kind of a funny play on a dad about to give a son the talk. And it was a play on the sex talk. The creative team said, let's try and be more diverse. Let's pull in a Black dad and a son. I saw the rough cut, and the start of the spot is, hey son, let's have the talk. And it was a very serious moment that then was going to turn into a funny moment. And I had said to the team, guys, this is problematic. And it's problematic because in the Black community, the talk is a very different thing. And it was, again, drawing on their own lived experience. It just completely went over their head and they didn't know. And so creative teams need to be open to hearing other things, hearing feedback, understanding that my view of the world may not be the right view in this instance.
I think we've all had brands and work with brands who say, they don't want to get involved because they don't want to get involved in politics. They don't want to do anything political. I think that that's one of these just lies we tell ourselves to not make any efforts that I can't wait to see die.
What's one example of a brand or an agency that's getting it right?
I think Apple's done a great job, not just in the most recent work, but historically done a great job of being inclusive and representing all different communities.
Walt and many others at VML Wine are really an inspiration. Shannon Washington did such a great job with Sephora with their Black Beauty is Beauty campaign. Some of the work that Doritos has been doing, recognizing Black voices and funding them, pay people what they're worth is a great step.
What's one example of what not to do?
This was the H&M work with the coolest monkey in the jungle that everybody saw and cringed. No one in the room obviously had a diverse background and saw that.
If we look very carefully at how we remove assumptions from the equation, then we start to get to a better place.